Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank you all for joining us on this episode of Chill with Jim, where it is always business up top and pajamas on the bottom, bottom. I find that that's easier than trying to scoot back because that green screen's like just right here. So stand up on my chair from now on. Maybe that's the way. HIPAA does not approve, or OSHA does not approve. I am your host, Jim McCarthy, and I am the client advocate for StrixLA Louisiana. My job is to make sure that our clients are set up with the best software, the best equipment, and the best possible IT solutions to help make sure that their businesses are running at optimal efficiency. We also have David Diarman with us.
Hey there, everybody. David Diarman, owner of StrixLA Louisiana, and I guess it's my role to make sure Jim does not violate OSHA rules.
Or HIPAA, because I said it wrong the first time.
Yeah, well, we worry about HIPAA a lot, so.
So both.
But if you break the OSHA rules, you might break a HIPAA.
Hey, that's impromptu, everybody. We're gonna have to get a David Diarman night of comedy,
Yeah,
improv going
can
one day.
Can we edit that out?
That was good. I like it. So, besides the bad jokes, we'll tell you a little bit more about what we do at StrixLA Louisiana. One of the things that we believe is that there is always a better, simpler, more secure way to do just about everything in this entire world. So what that means to us is we are constantly searching and adapting our processes to make sure that we do indeed have the best solutions in place. Now, we believe that part of this responsibility is to help educate others out there, as well as our clients. We want to bring them up to date with maybe some of the current resources they're using, talk about some of the general IT trends in the world today, and go over any big security risks that are happening. We also like to throw in some productivity, some advice, some tech knowledge here and there. And so that's what we are doing today. We are actually going to talk about Microsoft OneDrive. And so we'll go over quite a few things here today, but some of the highlights, we're going to go over why OneDrive is such a beneficial tool. We're going to go over how to install and get your OneDrive up and running. We're going to talk about things like syncing, sharing, and backups. Oh my! And then we're going to look at how OneDrive and Microsoft SharePoint relate to each other, and just kind of round it all out with how Microsoft Teams joins the OneDrive and SharePoint team. It all starts to come together.
Yeah, those Microsoft people are smart.
Collaboration. So the why, we always like to start with the why at Chill with Jim when we can. So, why is OneDrive so beneficial to me, to my clients, to my business? Well, OneDrive is going to give you one place, central location to store, share, and sync your work, your school, or your personal files. So as part of your organization's Microsoft subscription or your personal subscription to Microsoft 365, you're going to get OneDrive included, and that's going to allow you to save all of these files, documents, data to the cloud. And it's going to make them accessible from just about any device, anywhere that you're located. So some of the, let's say, highlights. With OneDrive, you can upload files to and from your PC or Mac. You can share your files with others. You can give others permissions to actually edit those files, and you can work on those at the same time, which has really been awesome. We've loved that feature a lot. You can, like I kind of mentioned, you can get your files from basically anywhere on your computer, on your tablet, on your phone, on your Apple device. and then you're going to be able to sync OneDrive to your PC or Mac. So that way you're always having access to these files, even when you don't have an internet connection. You can use OneDrive to back up your computer. So you can back up certain locations on your computer to OneDrive so that every time that you're in use and connected to the internet, everything's being backed up. Basically, OneDrive provides a consistent and intuitive experience across all of your devices. This will include the web, mobile, desktop, Windows PC, Mac, whatever type of device you want. It's going to be there as a resource, allow you to get to your data. And so that's why we believe it's so beneficial. David, do you have a few examples of practical usage that we've used here, or maybe you personally have used?
Well, I think you mentioned one is the backup. So you always want your backups. A lot of people use external drives or whatever. You want your backups off-site, and so OneDrive presents a quick and easy way to at least get some backups off-site. It helps automate it so that you don't have to remember to switch out external drives or anything like that. So that's one practical use. Another that we see very often is with our clients needing to share a file with their clients. So you've got Acme Inc. and they need to share I don't know, a diagram with their client. I don't know, ABC Inc. Acme and ABC sounds like real companies there. And so Acme just shares that file using OneDrive with ABC, and ABC gets on, and you can work together. We've done that several times. We've had clients do that several times. I think that's probably the most common approach for sharing with other people. But it also, I mean, it's just great for sharing documents internally as well. So we're on OneDrive all the time. So
Yeah, we
lots of
really
practical
are.
uses.
We've been using it for over 4 years, probably, right, David?
Yeah, we used other solutions in the past, but mostly because OneDrive struggled a bit initially when Microsoft first released it. Wasn't as good as Dropbox, wasn't as good as Google Drive, but they've made some major improvements over the last few years, and now it's I would dare say it's better than those solutions overall because of how much it integrates with the rest of the Microsoft platform. So yeah, I mean we've never at Strix, we've always been cloud based. We've never had a file server here at the office. So we've used a lot of different tools in order to share files amongst each other and keep things synchronized. I'm loving OneDrive.
Yeah, so there you go. I know quite a few times, right? You want to say, maybe you want to share a picture, but the picture's just a little bit too big for you to email it. Boom, OneDrive solution. Happens quite often with pictures, or if you wanted to maybe share an audio file, something that's just too big outside of your email, you can send it that way. You can share it that way. What also is great about it is you can lock down permissions so that way only certain people can get into it and can view it. And so that's a great one. We're gonna go over next. So some of the why we truly believe in this product. We use it all the time. So the next is, how do I go about just getting it installed? So I'm going to share my screen with everyone and pull that up right now. So first thing you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to, with Windows 10, typically OneDrive is already going to be an app on your computer. You can just sign in with your Microsoft credentials and it will sync, it'll get you to your OneDrive. But if not, you open up your Chrome or whatever browser you want to use, and you're just going to type in portal.office.com. That's going to bring you to your overall Microsoft 365 page. On that, you'll see the OneDrive, which you'll have a link to download. So pretty easy to get going. All you need to know is your credentials. And once you have OneDrive installed and once you sign into your account, you're going to get something that looks like this in your file explorer. So you can see here I have OneDrive with the company name. That's because I'm logged into our company OneDrive as Jim McCarthy. You'll also notice that down here on the bottom right, you have the OneDrive icon lit up all blue. And that's notifying me that, hey, my OneDrive's up, it's running, and it is syncing. So that's basically how you're going to get it started. Now, once you're in here, it's just like using your file explorer or your computer, My Documents, anything like that. It's exactly the same. So I could go into my new folder here, and if I wanted to drag and drop something over into this folder, I could do that very easily and just drag a file over. If I wanted to create, let's say, a new folder within this one, I can right click and I can create a new folder right within the OneDrive, which is going to go back to the OneDrive cloud. So this is like your visual representation of what's going on in the cloud. Is that a good way of putting it, David?
Yeah, this is the interface that everybody's used to. You've used this interface for years and years and years, and all of everything that you're doing right now, it's shooting back up to the cloud and syncing it all together.
So again, let's say I wanted to just bring something from my desktop over here. I could right click and copy it, and I could go back into my OneDrive, into that new folder I created, and I could simply paste it right there. And it's gonna boom, it's gonna go back. And so now on this is your desktop side, you're looking at your OneDrive. Now, what the web portal is gonna look like is right here. So after you go into your portal.office.com and you pull up your OneDrive, you're going to see this. Now, this is actually exactly the same as what you're seeing here. So you can see I have all the same folders. I have all the same documents. So again, this is our desktop version or our local version, and this is that cloud-based solution. So one of the great things about this is if you haven't synced it to your computer yet, you can hit the sync button right in the middle. And what that's going to do is basically anytime you're within the OneDrive, either on the web or on your computer, it's going to send all that information back and forth. Now, typically when you log into your OneDrive here, that's going to happen automatically. They're going to do that for you. But there are other areas that we go into soon here that I'm going to show you where the sync button is really, it needs to be prompted a little bit. But once you're in there, you'll start syncing automatically. And so we talked about the sync, and we also talked about sharing via OneDrive. So within the web portal, let's say I wanted to share this cybersecurity questions with someone. I can come here. I can click on the three dots, which is also known as the hamburger menu, and I'm going to click on share. Now within share, I have a few different options, and I can share it with people within my organization. So someone like David or Candace, AJ. I can share it with people who maybe they already have access. Or if I wanted to do it outside of the organization, I could just select this specific people here. Underneath, you're going to have an option of, do you want them to be able to to edit what you're sharing with them? So maybe this one, I want David to be able to look at these questions, but I don't want him changing my questions because they're my questions. So I'm not going to allow him editing. So boom, you're in here. You can type in an email address. Let's say I wanted to send it to my personal email. There's Tech7Jedi right there. Or if I wanted to share it with David, I just start, it says David DeArmond right here. It finds him most likely because it's in our organization. It's going to pop up. and I can click on his name and I can send over an invite. It's a share invite. He's going to get an email from Microsoft that says, hey, Jim McCarthy really wants to share this. I don't know if it says really wants to share this document. He
It
really
should.
wants to share this document with you, or this location with you. And he opens it up. It verifies that it is indeed David, and boom, David has access to that document or that file location. So it doesn't have to just be one single entity or one single file. If I wanted David to have access to all of this Strix file backup, let's say, it's a whole folder. I can share the entire folder with him, which will grant him access to everything inside of that folder. So that's where you can kind of get a little more granular with this. So if I wanted to share, have maybe an accounting folder, and just everybody in accounting needs access, well, I could grab it at the folder level and I could share it with all those people within the accounting department. And what's great about this is I can do the same thing straight from my desktop. So I don't even have to be in the web interface. I can right click here and look at that. I have a share option, which is going to bring in basically the same window, and I can share it from here. So when you get into efficiency and really optimizing your time, the least amount of clicks, the least amount of things that you have to open are the most beneficial. So if I'm already in my computer and I'm looking at this document, how sweet is it that I can just share it straight from here? Save you a little bit of time of going onto the web and logging in. So really awesome stuff here. And then you can actually back up. We talked about it. You can back up certain files, folders that are on your computer to your OneDrive. Now, you remember I talked about this little OneDrive icon down here. If you right click on that and you pull up your settings right here, it's going to have a few different things. It's going to show you, oh, and I lost, so I think I'm showing everything here. I just, there we go. My StreamYard dropped. So within this, you see that the account is under my name, jim.mccarthy@strixla.com. These are some of the locations that I'm syncing. If I click on this backup and I want to manage the backup, it'll allow me to back up these folders just by clicking this little check mark here. So anything that's on my desktop is going to go straight up into the cloud. It's going to be backed up anytime I'm connected to the internet. This is syncing it. So that means I make a change here, it gets sent up to the cloud, and it keeps that change up in the cloud. Can do the same for my documents and my pictures. You just hit your start backup and boom, everything is being backed up into the OneDrive cloud. Now, if I look here, you see I have there's my desktop. Yep, and there's everything I have on my desktop within it. My documents, it's actually syncing with the documents that I have on my computer. And so as you can tell with this, it just makes it really easy to at least get a backup started on your computer and save the most vital things. And so there's a few of the little insights into OneDrive here. And wanted to kind of just touch on a few of the key points. There's a few different types of OneDrive, and this is where it gets a little interesting. So a little complicated sometimes. And so if I have a personal Microsoft account, I can have a personal OneDrive account. If I have a business account, like the one I'm showing you, all of you guys,
Y'all.
then that OneDrive is a OneDrive business account, which is actually two separate applications. So in essence, I could have my Jim McCarthy personal OneDrive running at the same time as my OneDrive for Business, my Jim at StrixLA business account running. So those are two little points that make it a little bit confusing, but it also gives you a little bit more power to do what you'd like. So if there's things that you don't really want to share with your work, you have your OneDrive personal account. Everything's backed up, synced there. Everything is saved there that you'd like. And on the other side of it, you're not putting all of your stuff on the work account. So when you say, David's hair today was looking really weird in your journal, your daily journal, he can't go into my OneDrive and see that, oh, Jim said something bad about my hair.
Again.
I'm going to dock his pay. And so that's where it splits it off. Now, within the OneDrive business world, it also splits off into two different areas as well. And this is one of the pitfalls or one of the hardest things that we find understandable for everyday, for me sometimes. You'll look top left here. I got my OneDrive Strix Louisiana LLC. Now, that is basically an individual OneDrive that Jim McCarthy has. It's under the Strix Louisiana business, but this is mostly my OneDrive. Now, there's also another way to be able to get into your business OneDrive, which is your shared, all of the stuff as a business you want to share with your employees, your staff. There's a way you can sync that OneDrive as well. And so this OneDrive and that OneDrive are all talking to one area, and that's SharePoint. Now, David, I feel like I've been blabbing and blabbing. People probably don't want to hear my voice for a little bit. So can you help break down just a little bit of the relationship between the OneDrive and a SharePoint?
Well, SharePoint is really the root of it all, I'd say, or maybe the trunk of it. I don't know what you'd call it, but everything that you're doing right now on OneDrive is a shell or a window into SharePoint. Everything is going into SharePoint. So you're talking about your personal drives, your personal company drive, and your shared company drives. All of those are SharePoint sites. So you have your personal SharePoint site that it's building off of, and then I'm sure we'll get into it a bit here as we look into those teams that you have there, the StrixLA internal and all of those. Those are SharePoint sites, and there's a section of SharePoint sites that's documents, and that's exactly what OneDrive is attaching to. It's all interconnected. It's all happening together. OneDrive really is just a way to present what is happening on SharePoint.
So you can kind of think of it as, back in the day, we needed a computer to house all of this stuff, put all those files and put all that information in, and we would go to that computer to get that stuff. Well, OneDrive is in the background, it's in the cloud, but it is storing all that information. It's allowing it to talk to each other. It's actually synchronizing things. So the SharePoint is that it's like a server. It's in the background, keeping all that data for you on that server. And so if I were to go into SharePoint, which you can see with your Microsoft, you're going to have all your apps over here. If you click on the little square at the top left, you can see all the apps that you have access to. And I want to pull up SharePoint. That's going to bring me to where Strix, as a company, these are some of those sites that we've made. So marketing, Parliament, managed IT. I made a chill demo just to show here. So this chill demo is just a SharePoint website that I made. And within it, I can have documents, which will talk back to OneDrive. I can create documents within here. I can allow people access by giving them membership, so you can see who's able to access this Chill with Jim demo. And sync, open in Excel. I mean, this is where you'll start to see the integration of everything Microsoft coming together. So I actually just did a new Word document right from SharePoint, and guess what it does? It brings up Microsoft Word, and it creates this document and just saves it with whatever name it gave it, which is document. I can rename it if I'd like. But boom, right within SharePoint, I created a new document and can work right within it. So again, the least amount of clicks is most optimal for all of us. So if I'm working within the Chill demo, I'm already here. Why not just create, if I need an Excel workbook, create it right from SharePoint here. It's really powerful stuff here. If I go back to my SharePoint as a whole, you see some of the sites that I have access to that are all shared with the StrixLA team. These sites are also going to tie into other areas. So for my OneDrive representation of this, you're going to see that all of these sites, these SharePoint sites here, are synced. They're synced to my computer. So that means this Parliament, right, this Parliament documents right here, that's this Parliament area is talking to this site. If I look at documents, all of the documents I see there are going to be right here. This is where that sync button comes into play. So if I wanted to sync this with my computer, I can hit that sync button and it will come, it'll pop up right here. The difference between the OneDrive individual company drive and your synced company drive is it's gonna look different. So you have the cloud for your individual, and then you have this little building, and that little building it basically is representing that this is a SharePoint resource. And so anything within this that's synced, I then have access to very quickly on my computer as well. They're talking back and forth, and it really allows you to stay in touch with your team.
Jim, is it part of your demo to maybe to go to that Chill demo SharePoint site you have there and sync OneDrive? Because I see it's not synced to your.
Yeah, well, we can do that. That's part of my demo. So
Okay.
It is now. So if I come here, I forgot I hadn't synced it yet, and hit sync, it's going to automatically open up my OneDrive. It's going to tell me, hey, guess what? You're now syncing your Chill demo documents. And so if I come over here to my OneDrive,
There it is.
wrong one. It's right there.
Chill demo.
So, and what's amazing, like truly amazing about this is how quick it goes. Like, even if I had 50 files in this, it's going to be there like that on my computer. It syncs very quickly. And so what OneDrive has learned to do, what it's very, very good at now, is that it's going to give your computer just enough data, just enough storage to tell your computer that this is a document named document in this location, but it's actually not downloading the entire document because it doesn't, if I were to keep all of these folders locally on my desktop here, I would have no more space on my hard drive. So what OneDrive, SharePoint, what it's doing is it's downloading the minimum amount of data, 16 kilobytes there. And if it only downloads it when I have to open it, when I need it. You can tell it to keep it on your computer at all times if you'd like, but basically when I open this demo McMemo here that I created, you can see that it went from a cloud to a green check mark. That means that it fully downloaded this file onto my computer, and now it's sitting locally on my computer. Now, okay, so Jim, I opened my files and I forget to just sync them back, or I forget that I don't really want them taking up all this space. Well, that's great, because OneDrive has a set amount of time where maybe in 30 days, it will go ahead and move the majority of that back to the cloud. So you only have, again, this minimal space being taken up on your computer. So super quick, super fast, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. Let's see what the properties on this are now. So still not taking up a whole lot of room, and it all syncs within. Another cool thing is if I'm in this demo McMemo here and I'm working, and now this is something that I'm pretty sure I saved with David. If not, I'm just going to go ahead and save this with him just to make sure. I'm going to send him that invite. All right, demo McMemo has been sent. So now, if and when David hops into this document, and let's say we are showing collaboration. You found my weakness. And working together on the same file. As soon as David pops into here, oh, and look at, there he is. I see that David DeArmond is in the same file I am. And so if he makes any changes to this document, like putting in his own wording, it's going to then sync up with my document so that I see exactly what he's doing. So you can see here, it says David is doing some work, and it will pop up shortly here with the sync as soon as it pops up.
Taking a little time. I just saw your stuff pop up on mine, so.
Okay, so it does take a second to sync on over, but pretty awesome, because I can see whoever is in this document. If you have a team of 10 people and 7 people are in this document working together, then that will show me the 7 people, and then there you go. David wrote, "What do you mean?" It shows me here.
Catching up fast.
Yeah, and as soon as it creates that first sync, usually it picks up speed quite a bit. So when I click on this, I'm going to see that actually this was written by David. You see right here, David's doing this. So I know that it wasn't me. And we can work together on this document at the same time. Really, really good for spreadsheets. We found it very, very helpful. So yeah, you can see as soon as David types something, it's hopping in. It's popping in right here. It has a little note. Hey, David was the one that wrote this. Tells me who David is. So again, collaboration highlights, like Microsoft is integration and collaboration are what sets them apart from their competitors. So, you know, OneDrive or Dropbox, there we go. Dropbox gives you something that's going to look very similar to this, you know, where you have your documents all saved. It's going to sync on up. But what Dropbox is not going to do is it's not going to collaborate with things like Excel, with Word. It's not going to. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, well, I mean, one big thing that we see a lot of clients doing is they have M365, Microsoft 365, and then they also get Dropbox because they don't realize that you have all this capability built into Microsoft 365, and so we see people paying for both services. and you don't need to do that. If you have M365, there's no need to run Dropbox. You get more out of OneDrive through M365, including a lower monthly expense. So we see that really way too often where people are paying for two services, and we've gone over a lot of the functionality in Microsoft 365 specifically for that reason, and they're adding more to it every day. Just within the last few weeks in Teams, they added Teams webinars, so you don't need Zoom for webinars anymore. You can have people register with Teams webinars. So this is just a really big one that we see very often. People are paying for other sync services when what you have right there with your Microsoft 365 subscription is more powerful.
Yeah. So quite often we're seeing people double up with Dropbox or Google Drive, right? So now let's say you're working with another company and they request that you share some data with them via Dropbox. A lot of the times, if you say, hey, well, we use Microsoft Teams, can I just share it with you? Sorry, Teams, Microsoft OneDrive, can I just share it with you through OneDrive? They're going to say yes, but people don't think that there's that option. And so they go out, they buy a subscription to Dropbox, and they start sharing with that company. If you have this already in place, even the most minimum level of Microsoft 365 comes with OneDrive.
Yeah.
So you have a way to share it. So save your money. If you have 2 or 3 services in place, you're probably going to use Microsoft Word and Excel and possibly Outlook quite a bit. So you get that with OneDrive, or you can look at OneDrive comes with that. I mean, you're already paying for those. So this is a great, what's that?
Yeah, Bridget is saying, except the state of Louisiana, they're going to use what they tell you to use. Dadgummit.
Yes. Some places have strict rules with how you're going to share information.
Yeah, and in those cases, you usually don't have to pay for you don't have to pay for OneDrive or ShareFile is another one that you see fairly often. Companies are using those, and you don't have to pay for a license to access that those files that they present or that they're sharing with you. So it is a lot easier if you can keep it all in your environment. But I guess if everybody thinks that way, then at some point you end up butting heads like with the state.
That's right.
And they're going to win.
State's going to win.
Yeah.
I think you're right on that one. So again, you have these capabilities. Keep that in mind. It comes with your Microsoft already. But we do see a lot where people are paying for other services that this does the exact same thing. We talked about the emails, sending emails with files too large. This is the solution, everyone. This is where you can send any of these files that are humongous. You can share them.
And I'm just thinking about this. Really, if you default to OneDrive and use OneDrive all the time, because it gives you this collaboration ability. Is that a rule? I don't know. The ability. Yeah, the ability to collaborate, because if you send an email to someone, they get that file and now they can do work in it. Well, they have to send it back. And if you've been working in yours and they've been working in theirs, and so even if it's a small file, it causes a whole lot of headache. This file that you and I are sharing right now, we're working on it together. If I make a change, you see the change. So if you just start with sharing with OneDrive, that's probably better.
Yes, it's a great point. Great point. Now, look at how quick it is too. So and he changed the color on me. So nice. So this just trying to go over some of the common areas we see people missing out on all of these great benefits. You know, and what's even crazier here, now everybody, hope you're sitting down, is all of this stuff that we're doing, all of these sites right here that I see, they're going to collaborate with another game-changing, business-enhancing product, which is called Microsoft Teams.
Never heard
And
of that.
so if you look here, all of these teams that I have right here are our SharePoint sites.
Yeah, again, you're just talking about another window. Everything is built off of SharePoint. Teams is another window. Now uh, it has become very, very powerful and is showing um, just about everything that you can do on SharePoint and maybe even a little bit more. But it's building off of SharePoint. So that's one thing that we've had clients ask us before about, they're using Teams and they say, well, maybe we should set up a SharePoint site for this. It's like, well, you actually are setting up SharePoint. That's actually what you have. And so maybe if there's something in SharePoint that they're used to, we can send them to the SharePoint site from their team, and they can work in that more familiar familiar setting. But yeah, OneDrive, Teams, all of it just built straight off of SharePoint.
Yep, comes right in. You have quick access. You're going to have your files. You can post things to those sites, to the teams that they're going to be teams here, and add all these different capabilities. If you want to make a OneNote, you can add that to Teams. So really awesome that all the stuff you're doing here in the background can tie into basically most of your major players of Microsoft's software. So Excel, Word, Teams, PowerPoint. So you could build a PowerPoint with someone else. That would be so much easier than talking to them and being like, well, what do you think about this picture being here? No, move it to the left a little bit and up. So just it brings it all into one, and you can work very easily on it. Bridget shared that she uses OneDrive for just about everything besides the stuff that the state makes her use Dropbox for, and she just likes how she can create a shared file and then work on it with the rest of her team. Again, just like we were showing with this Word document, we can collaborate with 10, 15. We can have really as many people in this document working together as we would like, looking at it, making changes along the way. This amazing collaboration they're coming up with. And
yeah, I remember the first time we used it fairly successfully. It was a few years ago, but we had a big proposal that we were working on, and one of the key players in the proposal wasn't at the office that day, and a change came in. We needed to get it out, so he and I jumped on the proposal through OneDrive. He was at his house, which today is like, well, yeah, everybody's at their house. But 3 years ago, it wasn't quite so normal that everybody was working at home. And we got on the document. We worked on it together. We finished the proposal and got it out. I think about how difficult that would have been, trying to have an email conversation back and forth and managing it that way. It would have been. I don't know if we would have gotten the proposal out that day at all. With OneDrive, we were able to show how quick and flexible and just how good we were in being able to get things out quickly. So.
Yeah, so you can see where you're going to have a lot of options here to share, to collaborate, to sync. The backup feature is awesome. For those people who have Microsoft already, that you don't want to pay extra money for Carbonite or another backup solution. It's already part of your subscription. Again, that's all
Yeah,
inside of here.
yeah. You use the built-in Windows backup, and just make sure that it's saving to a folder on your desktop or a folder in your documents. And hey, you've got your entire computer backed up, and you have your local copy, you have an offsite copy, and it all happens automatically.
And then, so David, when I'm in the documents here, let's just say, okay, let's do our chill demo. Now, if I were to create a new document and save it here, does that mean it's going to go automatically back to my SharePoint and to my Teams?
Well, yeah, because they're all the same thing, right? It's
Yeah.
all in a way. It's just going to SharePoint, and OneDrive and Teams are showing you what's in SharePoint. So yeah, it shows up everywhere.
So just again, you see this, the power of this. So I can work within this on my computer. The little cloud sign means that it's up in the cloud. These little arrows means that it's doing some syncing right now. That's where we have the file that we're working within. And it just has so much. Some of the common areas that we do see problems arise, or confusion, it's really more confusion than anything, is that they get mixed up with the company and their individual company, OneDrive or shared location. And so they'll start to share things, or they'll start to save things in their individual OneDrive, and then it's not syncing with the rest of the team. So that's one of the things we've seen, vice versa on that as well. And I guess some of the other things we've come along with is, if there is a syncing problem with your OneDrive, it's going to let you know with a little X on this bottom right icon there, a little cloud. There you go. So this one right here, if there's an issue, it's going to have a little red X on this cloud, or maybe it turns it gray because it's not syncing. You'll be able to see exactly what the issue is. Now, sometimes if that issue is large enough, it will stop the sync from working altogether on that location. So that's something you have to watch out for. And then I think otherwise it's pretty straightforward. Um, Being able to use both. Again, if you wanted to get to that backup location, you're going to click on your settings, go to your backup, and you can manage what is going to be backed up from there. But really, I don't know, David, is there any more problem areas you've seen along the way?
The one thing that we've seen gets a little bit confusing, is the location that you're sharing, maybe. So when if you'll open up your let's say Teams, one thing you'll notice here is that there's a sync button up there in the files. And if you click the sync button there, it does the same thing that we saw on SharePoint. The difference is it's only going to sync this one channel of the team, whereas the way we have our OneDrive configured on our desktops is we sync the entire team instead of just the channel. That's the way we approach it. Um, everybody kind of has their own way of doing things. But if you click on the ellipse there to the right of Add Cloud Storage,
Yeah, I got some of mine cut off here.
yeah, if you click there, you can say Open in SharePoint. So that again shows you just how related these two things are. Teams opens it there. So if you click that sync button, it's only going to do the documents website. You see how you have the breadcrumbs there is what they call that above the list. No, go a little further to the right. Documents, and then it's got the arrow website.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right there. So website is the channel of the team that you're on. What we like to do is click on that documents, and now you're at the root for the entire team. And then you click sync, and It syncs everything within the team. That's the way we do it. You may only want to sync a channel though, and so if you only want to sync a channel, then you go to that channel. I do wish maybe there was an option that was a little more obvious that said sync entire team or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's the other area that we've run into where someone goes to sync and then they're looking for the other files within a team and not realizing that it's just grabbing one single channel of that team instead of the entire team.
Yep. So one we've run into, and then just, making sure you save things in the correct spot. So if I create a new folder here outside of all of these other sites and teams
Yeah.
and channels, this folder doesn't know where it's supposed to talk to yet.
Yeah, and you can see it doesn't have a little cloud on it, which means it's not syncing.
So,
so that's what you look out for. You look for that icon there in the status. You can see in the chill demo documents, it has the arrows going, and that's because we have this document that we're sharing. We have it open, so it's continuously in sync right now. So it's still synchronizing. That new folder you just created, it's not doing anything. There's no cloud, there's no X, there's no check mark, there's nothing, which means it's not in OneDrive.
Correct. Yep.
It's just in the OneDrive folder.
Which is where
yeah, we run into that.
Yeah. And that's how I want to bring it up. So this is existing in a location it doesn't know where to tag it to, basically. So if I really wanted this new folder to be within the chill demo alongside the demo McMemo, then I could just drag it there. Now I look and boom, look, it's being synced as we talk.
Look, there you go.
So, but when you look at it as a top highest hierarchy, the highest of the hierarchies, try not or stay away from creating anything outside in this total hierarchy here at the very top level. Because like I said, it doesn't know how to talk back to SharePoint because we haven't told it where it goes yet.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, a big thing though. A big thing, because you could think you have 200 gigs worth of data being synced and it's not.
Yeah. We've run into that. We run into clients saying, I created all of these folders and nobody else sees them, and I thought they could see them. I thought it was all synchronized, and what the heck is going on? That's what's going on. When you're under that little company icon there, that building of OneDrive, you have to have a corresponding SharePoint site for it to sync up to, and you don't create a SharePoint site by just adding a folder here. So.
Yep, and actually another thing that got brought up today, actually. So if you have two computers and you're syncing locations in both computers, or you're backing up locations from both computers, it gets a little bit confusing because maybe your son's on that computer and now he goes and deletes something from your desktop, and then you're on your other computer and you see that something just was deleted. I didn't delete anything. So that's like, if it's a shared device, be careful with how you synchronize everything, because if it's the family computer and you have all of your business stuff synced, if someone actually accidentally goes in there and deletes it, it's going to delete it from the cloud.
Yeah, number one, don't do that. Don't keep your business stuff separate from your personal stuff, because we see it way too often. Kids homeschooling now, and parents are just like, here, take my computer, and then their business stuff gets hammered. So don't do that. But that does bring up a use case we didn't talk about, and that's using separate computers. So if you are backing up your desktop and your documents, then whichever computer you get on is going to synchronize your desktop and your documents and your pictures, everything that you have backed up there and synchronized. And so that's an excellent way to move from computer to computer. It's also what I personally believe Microsoft is shooting for in the future, where your hardware really doesn't matter much anymore. Everything is in the cloud. You just go and you log into whatever hardware is available, and you have your environment.
Yes. Yep. And so with that, people sometimes like to share resources, so they don't want to buy their own Microsoft account. So hey, Jim, will you just, or David, will you? I just want Word and Excel. Will you download those onto my computer and sign into your account, and then I can just use them? Bad idea. So, because now that it's synced, now that it's talking to David's account, if Jim is in and working on a Word document, it's going to save to his account. It's going to change in his account. So pay the little extra for your own account. Don't let people share with yours. It's going to be the person who's paying for it that gets, the raw end of the deal, because he'll end up, whoever it is will accidentally change something that you don't want him to change.
Yeah, they're like, wait, what? I didn't create this document. Where did it come? Just delete all this stuff. It's taking up space on my computer. Get rid of all of that. Wait a minute.
Or,
Now, fortunately, we can restore from OneDrive for 30 days, but
30 days.
What if you don't notice? What if it's a folder kind of deep down in there, and it had a bunch of information in it, and the person you're sharing with didn't know that that was yours and that it would sync up to your computer, and 90 days later you go to look for it and it's gone.
Yep. And if you had your desktop being backed up, well, then every time that other person gets on their computer, say you're like, well, that's not my folder. I don't remember having that on my desktop. Delete. You're sitting there on your computer, and it will delete from your desktop.
Bye.
So another thing to be careful with out there. Went over quite a bit of information today. Hopefully, we broke it down into some understandable ways. Hopefully, we showed all of you the immense capabilities we have here within this product, within these products. Really, it is a suite in the sense that you get so much out of your Microsoft nowadays, because it all talks to each other. It can talk to other people, collaborate with other people, and if you want to go back, we're on YouTube. You can go back and watch it. Maybe even comment about some of the things that you've done after this, some of the things you've been able to accomplish or that have helped you along the way. We'd love to hear those type of things. So see where it's really making a difference in the day or in your workday. So share with us. David, what's on the schedule for next week?
We'll see. We were supposed to have Prevail on next week. We were going to have the CEO of Prevail, which is really a phenomenal service for kind of taking OneDrive that we just talked about. It has sync and sharing capabilities, but they have a part of their product that is in the AWS Gov Cloud, and so for people who are working in the defense, industrial base, DoD contractor type of people, it's a way for you to store very sensitive information for much less than maybe you got your quote for storing that kind of information. It's an alternative really to the Microsoft GCC High offering. Prevail is an amazing company. We hope to have them on next week, but we may have a scheduling conflict. So we're working on that. If we don't talk about that, we may kind of continue this conversation that we have going right now about, is your data leaking, and how sharing, like we just did, putting all of this out there, could turn bad if you don't do it right.
So join us next week. It's going to be a good one. Please do us a favor, like us on Facebook, follow us, subscribe on YouTube, thumbs up us, comment, all of that cool stuff. If you're looking to, go put something on before you go to sleep, chill with Jim. You'll learn while you're sleeping. But no, yeah, for real. We appreciate all of the support and thank you all for coming out. We will see you next week on this next Chill with Jim episode where it is the same chill time and the same chill network. See you then.